you drop 6 catches, you're not going to win a test match. And then Archer didn't play, and Ben Stokes didn't play. So they sort of left a few players out. They had an opportunity to win that test match, but England are just as vulnerable as anyone. I mean, I don't think they'll be shaking in their boots looking at our batting lineup, because I reckon they'll be going, I don't think Australia knows what their batting lineup is. So this will be another battle of the bowlers series, like India was. I think both sides are capable of knocking over each other. It's just where a couple of the batsmen fires, Steve Smith fires and Travis Head's fires, or Cam Green fires, then that'll be good, no doubt about it. But I don't think England will be worrying about our batting lineup. They'll be worrying about our bowling lineup for sure. But they're just as vulnerable as well. One minute they're trying to do baseball, next minute they're trying to be too nice, and now they've got to change their attitude. At the end of the day, India played really, really well. I mean, you got to give credit to India. I mean, I think the way that India is playing in world cricket is so good for the game. And, they're taking every opportunity. They're aggressive. They're aggressive with their batting, and they can change their game and hold on to a test match like they did at Old Trafford. And then when they need to turn the screws from the bowlers, someone stood up. So I love the way that India is playing test cricket at the moment. And this is without Kohli, without Sharma as well. So Shubman Gill's come in and really, really galvanised that, galvanised that test side. So, we're going to see them out here, obviously, in the summer for the one-day series. But in terms of England heading over here, they're going to have to pick their best bowlers. I think Archer has got to play at least the first 2 test matches or first 3. They can't afford to rest and rotate early on. They've got to get out of the blocks quickly, and they've got to try and win Perth and maybe try and win Brisbane as well, which won't be easy, but they need their full squad and best bowling lineup to beat Australia.
Yeah, and then how does their batting go on pitches that will probably do a little bit for the bowlers? It's a bit harder to hit on the up over cover in places like Perth and Brisbane.
Well, I hope they try. You're dead right. I think you might be doing that. I mean, Zach Corley's come back. He's done a pretty good job. I was surprised that he's sort of come back and held his spot in that side, but he's done a good job. But you're right, over here in Australia, it's different pitches. I mean, they talk about Joe Root being a phenomenal batsman, and he is, but he's never scored 100 in Australia. Until you score runs in Australia, then you are truly world class. So I think the pressure's really on Joe Root. I mean, a lot of expectations for him, and he's the key. He's no doubt he's the best. He's the best player in that team. But they won't be able to be aggressive like they are in England. You're dead right. If they try and be aggressive and try and play too many shots, then that's good for us. We'll knock them over. So they're going to have to change their game plan a little bit.
Yeah, and obviously quite a few of their batters like Root, Stokes, Pope, Crawley all played out here last time as well. So are they scarred by that experience?
Well, yeah. Look. I think when you don't play well in a certain country, yes, you can put a lot of pressure on yourself as well. I think they need to get over it early. If they come over late, or just come here 2 weeks and just have a bit of golf and a bit of sort of net practice in Perth, that's not going to work. I think you've got to get on the road. You've got to get playing. You've got to get that team unit together. I think in the past, sometimes they've just come over and taken it pretty easy and have a few net sessions and play lots of golf, and we're all big smiles. I don't think that's going to work. They need a hard nut sort of couple of games where they can come over here and knock teams over, where they play state cricket and whatever they do. I think they just need some real tough cricket, especially coming off that last series. They should have a decent break. They've got a few injuries, obviously. They've got to sort that out. But if they come over here and don't do the right preparation, then they'll lose 4-1 or 4-0. I felt a bit sorry for Sam Constance actually in Australia, because I think the expectations were of him to go out and do what a senior cricketer should be doing. This is a guy playing his first test match or first 2 test matches. And he's basically had to take on the Indian team. So I think that was harsh. It was the second innings for me in Sydney in his second test match, where he's just sort of played a really, really dumb shot, getting caught. I think it was a mid-off, trying to hit it over the top. Didn't need to do that, just needed to graft it around a little bit. And then I've seen a couple of dismissals in Shield cricket where, he's running down the wicket trying to hit over the top or flicking it through the leg side. Don't need to do that. He's good enough cricket. Yes, he can play those shots, and that's fine, but you've got to play them at the right time, and he'll work that out as well. he's too good a cricketer to do what he's done in the past and in Shield cricket, not to have another crack at international cricket. But he just got to go back, score runs, work out the technique. I think his technique needs to tighten up. He looks to me more like a middle order batsman with his technique. I know he's got away with that at the top of the order, but I think he's good enough. There's no doubt about it. But it's like Cooper Conley, Jake Pracer McGurk, these type of players. They've got to work it out. That's what it's all about. If it was easy playing Test cricket, a lot of them playing Test cricket, but it's not. And that's part and parcel. You get the attention, you get the media, you get the spotlight. You got to take all that in and try and sort of sift it out and work it out so you can get back into that Test side.
Yeah, and I think it's technically, especially for the likes of Conscious and McSweeney, it's openings like the poison chalice. No one wants to do it.
Yeah, you're right. McSweeney is a number 3. But hey, if someone said to you, look, where do you either open or you don't play, you want to play. I think McSweeney's good enough. I think he's good enough to do that. No doubt about it. But he's got a good technique, Nathan McSweeney. That's why I think he will play at least the first 2 Test matches this summer.
And just lastly, to finish off, colour predictions for the white ball games against South Africa and then for the Ashes, please.
Well, I think it'll be hard to beat Australia in the T20s. The one-day internationals are a different game. South Africa are pretty good at one-day international. Aiden Markram, I think, is probably the key. Rest of Van der Dusen for the T20s, I think, from South Africa is a key on the batting side of it. They've got good bowlers, obviously. Ngidi and Rabada are really good, white ball bowlers as well. So I think bowling side of it is fine. Their batting's can be a bit sort of iffy, but they're coming off a bit of confidence. South Africa winning the Test championship, so that's always good. They're fighters, they're quality fighters and scrappers. So that's always good to watch. I think Australia will probably beat them though in both those series. What was my other prediction? Test Ashes?
Yeah, for the Ashes. Yeah.
Well, it's like I said, it's going to be controlled by the ball. I think the ball will knock both teams over on both sides. I just don't think England's batting stacks up against our bowling. Steve Smith is always key. Travis Head, those experienced guys. I think Alex Carey, I've said it in probably both summers, I think he's the key for Australia's batting. He's a quality player as well. James White's a quality player for England. He's the wicketkeeper as well. So, injuries all aside, if things are fully fit, I'd expect Australia to beat England. But you never know. Archer's got to be fit. They've got to go with a really quick bowling lineup early on. And that's where I think, bringing Boland back into the team and not playing Nathan Lyon the first 2 could just give us the edge.